Okay, what's going on, people? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another crappy unboxing on my YouTube channel. But this time we got kind of a special package today. This is coming straight out of the great state of Washington, the Pacific Northwest. And it will have my Geo OMVS and my Geo top loader CD unit. But that's a whole other story. The point of this is to check out this new OMVS system by AVICE that Bob from GB did a video on a couple weeks ago. Okay, so this is packed really nice, plenty of bubble wrap, and this is going to be the main event. You can see right here, it's Haytalk Labs creation. All right, so let's put that to the side. We'll open that in a second. What else is in here? All right. Okay, sweet. Now, when you're ordering these OMVS systems, if you're not familiar, AVICE has a bunch of different options you can choose. And one of the options was refurbished Geo CD pad. But if you listen, this pad doesn't click because when he's refurbishing pads, he ran out of the clicky micro switches. So he said he fixed this to spec, but it doesn't click anymore. And I said, you know what? I already have my two still brand new functioning, or not, I shouldn't say brand new, my two stock OEM Geo CD pads that work. So I said, send me this, I'll check it out. So we'll test that out in a minute, but that is again, Geo CD pad. I think we need more light in here. I'm gonna turn the lights up. Here we go, that's better. Okay, so that's some more bubble wrap. Put that aside, put that aside. Ah, here's another item I ordered. This is a copy of Bubble Bobble for the Geo OMVS, sorry, Puzzle Bobble, otherwise known as Bust a Move in the US for the Geo OMVS. So, AVI also has a small selection of duplicate MVS cartridges, but I'm not sure what he has left. A lot of people took some of the big ones, like Metal Slugs, King of Fighters. So if you do end up ordering your OMVS through him, when he ships it, he'll let you know what he still has available, even if you want to choose to get a game. Okay, bubble wrap. So this is, I'll do a separate video on this, but underneath all this bubble wrap is my Geo CD top loader. Mr. Abby helped me out with getting Vertex Neo SD card loader installed, so I can play all the Geo CD games on the top loader, but still maintain functionality to play original CDs. So the disk drive is still intact, and I can also load an SD card in with backups of my Geo CD games. And I have a decent selection of CD games, but again, it's for backups. Okay, so there's Puzzle Bobble, there's the card, and now we'll get into the star of the show, the Geo OMVS. So for anyone who's not familiar, I will put a link in the description to Retro RGB's video unveiling this, but I've actually been aware of this, well, not all the details. I've been aware of Avi's efforts to consoleize the MV1C motherboard since last summer. I saw him posting in a YouTube group, sorry, not YouTube, or YouTube, a Facebook Neo Geo group about his consolidations, and it looked super cool, but at the time, it just wasn't in the cards. But I kept in touch with him, and he told me that he had been partnering with some people to make a more mainstream build. And by mainstream, I mean kind of like have more desirable features like proper RGB, stereo mod, and so basically what he did, MVC motherboard, he partnered with a gentleman by the name of Tian Feng. And if you haven't heard of Mr. Tian Feng, he has been helping the Neo Geo community out. He redesigned a new RGB output board. Look at that. A new RGB output board for the MVS Omega unit by ArcadeWorks. Because if you're familiar with those units, they had kind of so-so RGB stock out of the box, but Tien designed a better RGB board. He found out about Abby's OMVS project, and they partnered up to create a new RGB output for his project. So first thing we have here, this is a laptop style PSU. So this is a Meanwell PSU. It's got the extra laptop style plug, so that way I don't have to have a fat brick sitting out of my power strip. So here is the star of the show, the OMVS system. So first up, we have this really awesome custom sticker that looks like Abby designed with his logo. Open OMVS, official seal, smaller, sleeker, sharper. Another of his company logo, his corgi. And we've got a few extra bottom shell screws. And I asked him for this spare slot cart brace and Allen wrench because let's see if this is ready to be opened. It is. The reason why is when you order yours, usually they're going to be fully assembled. All the bolts are going to be intact. But because when you order it, you can have it with the stock BIOS or have him install a UniBIOS. So here's the open. Before I take it apart, I'll show the cell. This is a 3D printed shell. And Abby's doing these basically by hand. He's 3D printing himself, and then he's sanding them down, painting them with black primer, and then painting them over from scratch. So let's get this guy open. And the reason why, let me get back to opening this, is because I have a special UniBIOS. This is the NeoBIOS Master from Turfmaster. And this clips into an MV1C motherboard instead of soldering into place. What am I missing? Okay, all the bottom screws are out. The card slot screws, here's the cartridge slot. So we want to get this guy open. Hold on. We're going to stop this, and I'm going to figure this out real quick. Be right back. Okay, and we're back. I got the unit open. This is all 3D printed, so I don't want to ham-fist it and mess it up. But here's the system. This is the MV1C board, and a little extra option I have put on here is this is the dual frequency oscillator by Mobius Tech Strip. And what that's supposed to do is supposed to, from what I understand in my layman's understanding of this, it's supposed to kind of standardize the refresh rate of the system. So it'll play nicely with modern displays and upscalers like your OSEC, RetroTink, or just plugging it straight into a modern flat screen with component, or what I'll be using later, you'll see, is the RAD2X Genesis 2 cable. Because this system uses a Genesis 2 multi-out right here. So that is all RGB, no composite, no S-video. And what I'm about to do is take this Turfmaster NeoBIOS Master 2020 edition. I bought this last November in anticipation of this whole setup. And it just snaps right in. No soldering needed. And this is the UniBIOS 4.0 chip that Turfmaster was selling with his BIOS Master. I don't know if he's going to sell more UniBIOS chips straight up with his next batch of BIOS Masters. This might have just been something he did back in 2020 November, but If you are in need of a Unix BIOS chip of this size, I believe ArcadeWorks sells them for $10 a piece, and this is the UniBIOS 4.0 free version that Razula last released. And then on the bottom, it just slots in. It plugs right onto the processor. And let's try it out like. Yep, hear that click? It's in there. So there we go. And the reason why we're doing that is just a little bit above this guy right here. That is the stock BIOS on the MV1C. What I had Avi do is to disable that that stock BIOS chip. And the reason why is because who knows what I want to do with this in the future. If you watch Bob's video, he states that disabling it's a good option because you can in the future, you know, you might want to take this out and slot it into an actual JAMA Big Red Neo Geo machine. Well, I shouldn't say Big Red. I think Big Reds are 4-slot, but you might want to use this in an actual arcade setup, and you're gonna want that default BIOS. Anyways, it's just there. That way, if I ever need it, I have it. With Avi, you can tell him to remove that and solder in a specialized UniBIOS chip. That'll fit right in there and be soldered straight to the board. But I have this BIOS Master and this UniBIOS version 4.0 free. So that's what we went with. All right. So there's our MV1C. This is the OMVS kit. I'm going to go ahead and close this guy back up. Put back in all of these special braces. There's 4 screws for the cartridge slot. There's 4 screws to affix the bottom of the shell. And then we're gonna test this guy out. So we're gonna do a little jump, see you on the other side. Okay, here we are back again. The OMVS is all buttoned up, and I've set it up on my kitchen counter actually. This is a little flat screen that we have in our kitchen where my wife can watch cooking shows or whatever while she cooks for us, and I usually do dishes afterwards. But I got our OMVS ready to go. It's connected with the Rad2X by Retro Gaming cables and RetroTink. So that's a Genesis 2 style cord upscaler. Takes your 240p signal, converts it to 480p. And actually this is separate. This is just a dust cover lid for the OMVS. This is by Todd at Retro Frog Productions. Excuse me, Todd, it might not be called Retro Frog Productions, but it's definitely called Retro Todd. This is just a little 3D printed dust cover he created for the OMVS. Kind of nice if you don't always want to have a cartridge stuck in it. All right, and here's one of the few MVS games I have, Metal Slug 1. Also have Shock Troopers and Puzzle Bubble. Take our card out. Slot it in. And let's check this out. Takes a minute for the Rad2X to get the sync signal. There we go. I've got the UniBIOS right now set to Europe. Well, and Europe has the white blood just like Japan does, so I'll have to play with that. And I'm using that I was credit using that Neo Geo pad that Abby reconditioned that doesn't have the clicks anymore. It's doing a pretty good job. But I also have one AES stick and a couple kidney sticks. But I know this is probably sacrilege. I prefer the Neo Geo pad. I know most people swear by the AES stick or a custom stick, or even those Hori sticks look really cool. But I prefer the the Neo Geo CD pad first and foremost, followed by the Bean, and then the AES stick. I know, what kind of Neo Geo fan am I? Well, guess what? I'm a new Neo Geo fan. My first system was a Neo Geo CD. I bought that last January, and that was kind of the gateway drug to wanting an MVS. I did get an AES last summer for fairly cheap at Japanese auction off of eBay, not Yahoo Japan. There we go. First level's done. Here we'll pull up the in-game menu for the Unibios. Just reboot this guy. And yeah, that is my kind of poor man style unboxing of Neo Geo and the Open MVS system by Avi CE. I'm super pleased with it. I'm looking forward to building my MVS collection, one card at a time. It's much cheaper than AES games. I mean, AES games averaging at least 200 now for some of the good ones. Like Magician Lord, you know, you can get stuff like Thefter Special for 50, 70 bucks, Japanese version. US games always cost more, but like AES copies, most of one is like thousands of dollars now. When I got this MVS cart, that is legit. All the boards are good. Check them on MVS games for 60 bucks. I mean, you can't beat that if you want to play original carts. And then of course you also can get, you know, some of the flash card options. You know, you can get the Darksoft MVS cart, and then you also have Terra Onions 2 Neo SD carts, and Neo SD, what I call the Vanilla, and the Neo SD Pro, and right now the Pro is on open pre-order. I mean, of course, all three of those solutions are anywhere from $400 to $700, but if you don't want to buy carts, and you just want, or you don't want to collect carts, just want one solution, that's an option. But I wanted to collect carts because the Neo Geo has always been awesome. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry for the rambling. Have a good evening. Take care wherever you are. Be safe out there. Thanks. Bye.